Walk into any local gun shop right now, and you're going to notice something that would have sounded impossible just a couple years ago. The racks are heavy, the glass cases are packed, and the back room, it's stacked with inventory that nobody's even reaching for. And no, we're not talking about junk. We're talking big-name brands. We're talking hot new release guns, stuff that should be moving, but it's hitting a brick wall. If you still think the great gun shortage is alive and well, you're living in the past. That 2020 through 2022 buying surge, it pushed manufacturers into cranking out ARs, polymer pistols, and a bunch of niche platforms they thought would sell forever. But mix that overproduction with the sales slowdown we're seeing now. Add the ATF brace ruling fallout, and pile on a few new caliber flops like 30 Super Carry and 5.7 by 28 millimeter. Yeah, the whole script flipped. Because sure, staples like the Glock 19, the SIG P365, and suppressors are still moving fast. But a lot of dealers are sitting on months, even years of supply on guns that just will not move. So today we're counting down the 12 guns currently flooding dealer lots. And basically nobody wants to buy them. Stick around for the top spot, because it involves one of the most trusted names in the industry, dealing with a total inventory disaster. Number 12, Winchester XPR. Starting us off is the Winchester XPR. Now, Winchester is a name that carries real weight in the hunting world, but the XPR? Right now it's sitting on shelves like a lead weight. Dealers are saying these bolt guns are stuck in a dead zone. And here's the problem. If you're a budget hunter, you're probably looking at a Ruger American or a Savage Axis. If you're willing to spend a little more for a forever rifle, you're grabbing a Tikka or a Beretta. The XPR lives right in the middle, and it just doesn't do enough to justify its existence for most buyers. But the real nail in the coffin? That's safety recall. There were reports of the rifle firing just from manipulating the safety. And in the hunting world, if a gun gets a reputation for being unsafe or finicky, that word spreads like wildfire. Even if the issue got addressed, the trust is gone. And then you've got the proprietary magazines. They're expensive, and they're harder to find than what most competitors use. Between the weak aftermarket and the constant clearance sales just to move old stock, the XPR has turned into a permanent resident on a lot of racks. People just don't see the value. Not when there are better, more proven options at the same price. Number 11, Glock 44. Next up is a gun that should have been a home run, but turned into a strikeout, the Glock 44. When Glock finally announced a dedicated 22 long rifle pistol, people lost their minds. Everybody expected that legendary Glock reliability in a cheap-to-shoot trainer. Instead, a lot of folks got a plastic-heavy pistol that struggled to finish a single magazine without a hiccup. The Glock 44 became known for out-of-battery malfunctions, and even worse, reports of the plastic composite slides cracking or failing under normal use. Then there's the capacity issue. The Glock 44 holds 10 rounds, and in a world where the Taurus TX22 and the SIG P322 hold 16 to 20 rounds, for similar money or less, why would you buy the Glock? Dealers are sitting deep on inventory because the main people buying these are Glock perfection completionists. Everybody else walks right past it and grabs a Taurus or a SIG that actually runs on bulk ammo. Unless somebody walks in and asks for a G44 by name, it stays behind the glass collecting dust, while the newer 22 pistols fly off the shelf. Number 10, Daniel Defense DDM 4v7. This one might hurt some feelings, because Daniel Defense is absolutely a top-tier name, but the DDM 4v7 is a classic victim of the pandemic hangover. During the buying frenzy, people were paying $2,000 for an AR-15 just because it was available and had a fancy name on the side. Fast forward to now, the market is saturated, dealers are sitting on stacks of these rifles, and the street price has collapsed. We're seeing listings $500 to $800 below original MSRP. And even then, they're not moving, because the reality is, mid-tier brands caught up. You can buy an AR-15 for half the money. That has 90% of the same features. And for the average guy who just wants a rifle for the range or home defense, Spending $2 grand on a duty-grade rifle feels like overkill, especially when the economy is tight. Daniel Defense overproduced to meet that old demand, and now they're stuck playing musical chairs. The music stopped, and they're the ones without a seat. It's a great rifle, but at the current price point, it's a tough sell for anyone who knows how to shop value. Are you shocked with these guns on our list so far? Subscribe to Guns You Can't Live Without for more shocking videos. Number 9. CZ Scorpion Evo 3 braced configurations. If you remember, the Evo 3 used to be the it gun. If you wanted a 9mm subgun style pistol, this was the gold standard for years. But then the ATF brace ruling hit, and the market for braced pistols died overnight. All of a sudden, a gun that was easy to buy and fun to shoot turned into a legal headache for a lot of people. Even with the rulings tied up in court, the damage to the consumer's mindset was already done. Thousands of these hit the used market as people tried to offload them, and that crushed demand for brand new ones sitting at dealers. And on top of the legal mess, the Scorpion is starting to show its age. Compared to newer roller-delayed designs that shoot way softer, the Scorpion has that harsh, direct blowback recoil. Ergonomics are kind of last generation too. That safety selector digs into your finger, and the grip angle is one most people swap out immediately. Dealers are looking at shelves full of Scorpions priced too high for what they offer today. With smoother options out there now, the Scorpion went from must-have to why bother. Number 8. Tisas 1911, Night Stalker and Raider variants. Tisas really shook up the market a few years back. They were putting out 1911s that looked and felt like they cost twice what they did. For a while, they were the darlings of the budget 1911 world. But then came the safety recall. There were serious issues with hammer follow. And that's a fancy way of saying the gun could accidentally discharge or go full auto if internal parts failed. And for a firearm, there is no bigger red flag than any risk of an accidental discharge. Even though Tisas handled the recall, that budget brand stigma came roaring back. People who were already on the fence about a Turkish-made 1911 decided to save up for a Springfield or a Colt instead. Now dealers are stuck with a massive backlog from the recall process. To move them, shops are having to go deep on discounts, sometimes selling near cost. Those Night Stalker and Raider variants, the tactical versions, were supposed to be the cool ones, but now they're just taking up space, while buyers chase brands that didn't have a major safety scare recently. Number 7. Canik Mete MC9. Canik built a reputation for having some of the best striker-fired triggers for the lowest price. So when they announced the Mete MC9, a micro-compact 9mm made for concealed carry, people lined up. A lot of folks called it the SIG P365 killer, but then the reviews started coming in, and they weren't good. Early production guns got tagged with reliability issues, failures to return to battery, problems tied to the recoil spring assembly, and in the concealed carry world, reliability is the whole game. You can have the best trigger on earth, but if the gun doesn't go bang every single time, nobody's trusting their life to it. Those early reports created a stigma, and Canik hasn't been able to fully shake it yet. Plus, the Micro 9 market is the most crowded segment in the industry right now. If a customer has even a little doubt about the Canik, they grab a Glock 43X or a Smith & Wesson Shield Plus. Dealers are seeing slow movement on the MC9, even with fixes and rebates, because that first impression was rough. Number 6. Smith & Wesson M&P 12. The M&P 12 was supposed to be the high-tech answer to the Kel-Tech KSG. Bullpup shotgun, 2 magazine tubes, a ton of capacity in a short package. But man, did this thing flop. First, there was that big recall for cracked barrels. And just like we've said, once a buyer hears cracked barrel, most of them are done. But even without the recall, the design is awkward. The controls confuse people. It's heavy, and it's bulky for what it is. It feels like a solution searching for a problem. Most folks who want a home defense shotgun choose something simple, like a Mossberg 500 or a semi-auto Beretta. The M&P 12 is expensive, usually over $1,000, and it doesn't offer enough advantage to justify that price tag. In a lot of shops, it's been dead stock for over a year, It's a niche gun that failed to capture the niche. Now it's this weird-looking piece of polymer sitting there that every customer asks about, but nobody buys. Number 5. Beretta APX A1. Beretta is world famous for the 92 FS, but their push into modern striker-fired duty pistols with the APX A1 has been an uphill climb. And it's not because the APX is bad, it's actually a solid gun. The issue is, it has zero soul in the market and very little brand loyalty compared to the big competitors. If you want a striker-fired pistol, you buy a Glock. If you want a great trigger, you buy a Walther. If you want modularity, you buy a SIG. The Beretta APX A1 just kind of exists. Because demand isn't strong, Beretta has been pushing rebates and clearance pricing hard. You can find these around $300 after rebates sometimes. And even at that price, they're not flying off shelves. People worry about holster availability. They worry about aftermarket support. And both are way behind the big three ecosystem. Dealers are seeing long shelf time on the full-size and carry models. It's the classic too little, too late, in a market already saturated with polymer pistols. Number 4, Kel-Tech P50. If there was ever a gun that screamed, I'm a range toy that costs way too much, it's the Kel-Tech P50. This pistol uses those 50-round magazines from the FNP 90. On paper, it sounds like a blast. In reality, it's a dealer headache. It's huge. It's awkward to hold. And there are almost no holster options. And then there's the ammo. It shoots 5.7 by 28 millimeter. That ammo is expensive. And for a long time, it was very hard to find. Most folks walk in, look at the P50, and go, man, that looks cool. Then they see the price tag. For a gun with no practical use in self-defense or hunting, a lot of people can't justify $700 to $900, so it sits. 12 plus months in plenty of shops. It's the definition of a walk-up gun. Someone sees it, asks to hold it, laughs at how weird it is, puts it back, and buys something else. Cool engineering, but as a retail product, it's an anchor for store owners. Number 3, Ruger 5.7. This is the perfect example of overproduction meeting a niche market. When Ruger dropped this, it was a big deal because it was the first affordable 5.7 by 28 millimeter pistol, way cheaper than the FN 5.7. During the 2020 through 2021 boom, dealers couldn't keep them in stock. Ruger saw that demand and ramped production to the moon. But here's the shocking part. That 5.7 craze, it was kind of a fad. Once the hype wore off, and people realized the ammo was still expensive, and that a full-size pistol isn't ideal for daily carry, the buyers disappeared. Dealers are now saying they have more Ruger 5.7s than they know what to do with. We're seeing price cuts of 50% or more in some areas. Just to move inventory, it's a full-size gun, in a caliber many people still view as a novelty. And because Ruger made so many, the market is underwater. It's become one of the biggest inventory disasters in the American gun market today. Number 2, Kimber R7 Mako. Kimber tried to jump into the micro-compact 9mm pond with a high-end optics-ready carry gun, but they tripped right out of the gate. An early production firing pin safety block defect got reported, and it allegedly caused multiple rounds to fire on a single trigger pull. That's not just a malfunction. That's a full-on legal and safety nightmare. Naturally, it led to a full recall. Even after Kimber issued a fix, the stigma has been massive because concealed carry buyers want peace of mind, and the Mako's reputation for unintended firing is a hard shadow to step out from under. Dealers are sitting on 9 to 14 months of inventory on these. To get them moving, some shops are selling them for $150 to $200 below their own cost. It's a high-quality gun in theory, but when you lose the trust of the CCW community, you lose the market. Number 1, Taurus GX4. The biggest inventory disaster sitting on dealer lots today is the Taurus GX4, and this one is wild because early on, the gun got praised. It was seen as a strong budget alternative to the SIG P365 and the Hellcat. Then the wheels fell off. A voluntary safety enhancement, basically a recall, was issued for a striker bypass issue. Plain English? The gun could fire if dropped. That news crushed consumer confidence overnight. And for a budget brand like Taurus, a company that spent years trying to rebuild its reliability reputation, that was brutal. The street price collapsed. You'll see an MSRP around $450, but real buy-it-now pricing has tanked into the $280 to $320 range with rebates. And even at those rock-bottom prices, they still sit 8 to 12 months or more. Some shops have gotten so desperate to move them, they treat them like throw-in guns, bundling them for next to nothing. If you buy a high-end optic or a specialized holster package, it's a total inventory nightmare, and it's not showing signs of clearing up. And when you step back and look at all 12, the common thread is pretty clear. Either safety issues killed consumer trust, or the guns were overproduced for a hype cycle that ended. Today, the power's back with the buyer. If you're looking for a deal, these are the models you can probably haggle on. But there's a reason they're still sitting there. Manufacturers ignored what customers actually needed: reliability, value, and instead they chased what they thought they could sell during a panic. Which one of these surprised you the most? Or do you actually own one of these shelf queens and love it? Let me know down in the comments. And if you want to see which guns are actually worth your money this year, subscribe to the Armory.